Bore da bawb, bore da aelodau Pwyllgor Craffu Partneriaethau, a bore da hefyd I aelodau sydd wedi ymuno ar cyfarfod sydd ddim ar y Pwyllgor ac wrth gwrs i'r swyddogion ac ati bydd yn cyflwyno yn y rhannau yn y tîmau 5 a 6. Mae'r eitem yn cael, mae'r cyfarfod yn cael ei wedd-arlledu ac gai dim ond atgoffa bawb bod yr cwbl fydd yn digwydd yn yr siambr yn agored i'r cyhoedd ar gyfer wylio yn fyw neu I recordio at eto. I can just explain about the item 6, please. Members will have received an email yesterday afternoon evening from the external speaker in which there are references to a number of names of residents and members in the community. Can I please ask everybody please to refrain from referring to any names mentioned, please. Okay. In mind now, we will move on. Mi awn ni ymlaen at datganiadau o ddiddordeb. Oes gan... Sorry, mae'n ddrwg gen I. Ia, ymddeiriadau. Gawn ni ymddeiriadau gyntaf, gwelwch yn dda.
Ymddeiriadau gan cynghorydd Jeanette Chamberlain-Jones a cynghorydd Ann Davies.
Yeah, it was very remiss of me. I should have mentioned, by the way, the reason why I am in the chair is because Jeanette Chamberlain-Jones is unable to attend today's meeting due to ill health. I'm pleased to say that she's getting better, she's recuperating at home, and I've got an idea that she may well be watching the events on webcast this morning as well. We were always hoping that she would be here as one of the members. But we wish you well, Jeanette.
Emrys?
Yeah?
Nawr wedi gael galwad gan Rhys Thomas. Mae amhosib iddo ymuno. Fedra rhywun anfon passcode I rhywun, link iddo fo I ymuno a gyfarfod.
Diolch yn fawr.
Please.
OK, mae hwnna'n mynd I ddigwydd. Diolch yn fawr.
OK, iawn.
Unrhyw geisiadau eraill gen I wyn pawb arall I weld yn hapus, ti'n meddwl?
Chair, I don't think I've had that email.
Say that again.
Hello, Chair. Smell here. That email that was sent out yesterday.
Right.
I wonder if it could be sent to me now, please.
Okay, I will ask Councillor Miles that you will get a copy of the email now. Rhian will send it forward to you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Everybody else okay? Diolch yn fawr. Reit, mi awn ni rwan. Ymddeiriadau felly, dim ond y ddau, Jeanette Chamberlain-Jones ac Ann Davies. Oes yr agor o'r llawr any more from the floor? Reit, awn ni'n ymlaenau felly, ac mi awn ni at datganiadau o datganiad o ddiddordeb. Oes gan unrhyw un datganiad o ddiddordeb i'w wneud efo'r eitemau? Wel, mae llaw meirig I wneud I meddwl.
Ia, sori dod I mewn o fama, parchus gadeirydd, a llongyfarchiadau chi gael y gader. Oeddwn ni'na heb gael e-bost, wrach nad ydyn ni ddim I gael nhw, ia? A dyna rheswm?
Aelodau'r Pwyllgor sydd wedi derbyn yr e-bost I meddwl.
Yn unig, dyna fo, diolch yn fawr.
Reit, diolch yn fawr iawn. Mi awn ni'n ymlaenau rwan at cofnodion. Materion BRYS wedi cytuno gan y cadeirydd. Dwi heb derbyn cais am unrhyw fath o BRYS, felly dwi'n cymryd nad oes dim. Felly mi awn ni yn ymlaenau at eitem 4, sef cofnodion y cyfarfod dwytha. Gawn ni gyntaf gymryd y cofnodion fel maen nhw. Gawn ni gael bwrw golwg dros yn sydyn o ran cywirdeb I ddechrau, gwelwch yna. Dwi'n ymddihiro mawr. Mae hwn wedi mynd I fideo rôl I mi Bear with me for a moment because I need to transfer this to another file. Okay. Cofnodion y cyfarfod dwytha cynhalwyd ar 15 o Fedi 2021. Fi ar tudalen 5. 6. Gan y bod i'n edrych ar y cofnodion wrth ddeud hyn, os oes rhywun eisiau deud rhywbeth falle ydych chi'n jyst yn codi llais hefyd rhag ofn bod fi'n colli, ddim yn gweld eich llaw chi. 7. Tudalen 7. Tudalen 8. Tudalen 9. Deg. 11.
Os gael ddod i mewn, dwi'n yn aelod, ond os ydy'n iawn mi ddod i mewn.
Mi nawn ni faterion yn codi fe'n munud, jyst cywirdeb di ar hyn o bryd.
Wel, dwi'n yn siŵr ydy o'n gywirdeb neu mater yn codi, parchus gadeirydd, ynglyn â gwybodaeth ddim ar gael ar ôl deud bod nhw'n mynd i anfon o.
Pa dudalen?
Tudalen 10,
Ie.
sef y pennawd bach ydy ar ôl cyflwyno'r adroddiad dywedwyd wrth aelodau. A mae o'n lawr ar pwynt bwled 6. Byddai rhif cyswllt yn cael ei nodi a'i ddosbarthu. Dwi'n wedi weld o.
Y fater sy'n cael i'w godi di hwnna, Mary.
Diolch yn fawr, iawn.
Mae yn y rhestr un hefyd o faterion i'w godi.
Os newch chi gadw am mewn golwg.
Dyna Bob, diolch yn fawr. Reit. Di pawb yn hapus bod nhw'n gywir? Beth yw'n gynnig bod nhw'n gywir os gwelwch yn dda? Right, Joan Butterfield. And seconded by David Williams. OK, diolch yn fawr iawn. Reit, mi awn ni rwan at y materion sy'n cod. Ia, sori, di pawb yn cytuno bod ni yn derbyn yn cofnodion y rai cywir i'ch cywirdeb. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Reit, mi awn ni ymlaen rwan gyda materion yn codi o'r cofnodion. Dyn ni'n mynd yn ôl i dudalen 5. Mae genna i gwestiynau wedi dod ynghylch yn dilyn y cyflwyniad oddi wrth gwasanaethau gwirfoddol y DVSC. Gwybodaeth i chi, mi fydd y farchnad yn rhythyn yn ail-agor yn swyddogol yn ystod y bythefnos cyntaf ym mis Rhagfyr. Mi fydd ei gwefan newydd ar gael erbyn diwedd y flwyddyn, a mae'r cyfarfod cyffredinol, blynyddol cyffredinol y DVSC yn mynd i fod ar y 10 o Dachwedd 2021. Felly dyna'r manylion wybodaeth oddi wrth y rhan honno o'r cyflwyniad. Dwi'n yn gweld llaw neb i fyny yn parthed y rhan hwnnw. Partneriaeth diogelwch cymunedol. Oes gen unrhyw faterion i'w codi fanne? Sorry? Ie. Reit. Mae Meirich wedi cyfeirio at yr eitem pwynt bwled 6 yn rhan 6, os dwi'n cofio'n iawn.
Ia, diolch yn fawr, Mr. Cadeirydd. Ia, dwi'n mi weld wedi cael y cyswllt oedd i'w gael ei ddosbarthu. Ac os gai tra dwi'n siarad, parchus Cadeirydd, bwled 7 hefyd, mae wedi gofnodi i gysylltu efo'r heddlu 1 am negeseuon e-bost. Ond os ym e-bost, i ni fedru cysylltu. Diolch yn fawr.
Swyddog Rhian, dyn ni yn gallu sicrhau bod yr rhif cyswllt yn cael i'w ddosbarthu.
Mae wedi i'w ddosbarthu, dweud y gwir, yn yr ddogfen anfonwyd at aelodau'r Pwyllgor ddydd Llun. yn yr information brief.
Reit.
Fedra i anfon y wybodaeth yna ymlaen i cynghorydd Mary Lloyd Davies. Ond be maen nhw'n dweud ydy o ran rhif cyswllt, mae'r rhif ar wefan yr heddlu. A does e ddim pwynt cyswllt penodol oherwydd bod y personel yn newid mor aml. Hefyd yn fanna hefyd, mae'n adroddiad ar yr ystadegau rural crime figures mae'n cael ei galw. Mae hwnnw'n hefyd.
Lloyd Davies, ydych chi'n hapus efo hynny?
Wel, dwi'm yn siŵr pan bod rhaid i'r heddlu fod mor guddiedig efo'i e-bost. Dwi'm yn gofyn am e-bost personol, gofyn am e-bost adran i ni fedru cwyno neu anfon neges sydd yn anghywir neu'n beryg. Ddech chi'r neges euon gwirio yma da ni'n gael. Ffrod ac yn y blaen, yr ochr yna dwi'n sôn am.
So fater dwi'n meddwl i'r cynghorydd Davies godi hynny fyny efo'r heddlu hun fyswn i'n dweud.
Dwi'n gwybod bod chi'n cysylltu'r heddlu fel aelod o'r cyngor sir a hefyd fel unigolyn ynghylch hynny. Mae'n siŵr bod o'n bryder wrach i eraill hefyd pe maen nhw'n methu cael gafel ar heddlu mewn ffordd hwylus. Wrach mae hwn yn lle da i atgoffa'r aelodau bod yna gyfarfod arbennig briffio'r cyngor llawn dydd Llun a mi fydd heddlu Gogledd Cymru yn bresennol yn y cyfarfod hwnnw i drafod yr materion county lines yn benodol, ond dwi'n siŵr fydd y gyfle fanno hefyd i aelodau ofyn am y ffordd hwylusa o gysylltu a'r heddlu pe mae yna materion yn codi. Cyfle i atgoffa hynny hefyd. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Reit, awn ni'n ymlaenau. Unrhyw materion eraill yn codi? Na. Mae'r Meirig eisoes wedi cyfeirio sydd yn sgynnu lawr o fama. David Williams. David, ti ar mute. David, ti ar mute. Awn ni ddechrau eto. We will start again. You're on mute, David.
Okay. Sorry am hynny. Wn i ddim wedi bosib wneud rhywbeth am lefel y sound, achos mae chi a Rhian yn go gwan a rhai eraill yn mor gryf de. Mae'n lot o wahaniaeth yn y sound level.
Dwi wedi dweud meicroffon arall ymlaen fan, ydy hwnna well i chi?
Ydy bach, yndi. Oedd Rhian mae'n anodd clywed Rhian hefyd ambell waith. Ond siaradwydd eraill yn go gryf de.
Right. Is that the problem for the rest of people who are in attendance? Any sound?
Mae'n soundio well rwan de.
Yeah, okay, right. Well, I keep both mics on. Whether that's going to cause any feedback, I may have to turn one off if that happens. Okay.
Okay, diolch.
Diolch yn fawr, diolch David. Right, oes there agor o ddwylo fyny? Dwi'n meddwl bod edrych ar y sgrin. Nag oes. Right. A wedyn eitem 7, rhaglen waith craffu. Mae gennau jyst egluro efo paragraff 3, dyn ni sôn am y North Wales Economic Ambitions Board. Mi roedd yna ddisgwyl y bydd hwn yn cael ei drafod yn y cyfarfod heddiw. Ond mae yna resymau dad pam hyn wedi cael ei ohirio a dwi'n wedi adael i'r Rhian i egluro y rheswm dros hyn. Ysgwelwch yn dda.
Reit, mae'r rheswm i lawr yn adroddiad rhaglen waith heddiw deud y gwir. Mae ym paragraff 4.9. Y rheswm oedd yr amserlen ni ar gyfer y pwyllgor yma o ran cael... Y rheswm ydy oherwydd bod yr amserlen ar gyfer cael adroddiadau yn barod ar gyfer y cyfarfod heddiw ddim cweit yn ffitio efo amserlen Bwrdd Uchelgais Gogledd Cymru o ran cael ei adroddiadau nhw wedi'w cytuno. Oedden ni ryw ddiwrnod neu 2 allan ohoni a wedyn oedd e'n posib gael o'r cyfarfod yma, ond mi fydd yr adroddiad yn cael ei gyflwyno chi ar yr 11 ar 15 o fis Rhagfyr.
Ni rwan yn barod i fynd ymlaen I eitem nesaf agenda, sef eitem 5, adferiad o Covid yng nghanol trefi a threthi annomestig cenedlaethol. We've got a number of speakers here for this item. There's Muncie officers is Emmeline Jones, Stephen Gadd, Gareth Roberts, Paul Barnes, and Rob Urquhart and Gary Thomas, and leading on this from the cabinet is Julian Thompson-Hill. So we're ready to move on this. Julian, are you going to?
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. As you say, we've sort of come mob-handed today, because this does come across a number of service areas. So I'm going to start you off going through the NNDR and grant regime element of the report. And then I'm going to hand over to Emlyn and his colleagues, who will then cover off the wider economic issues and future initiatives. Excuse me. In terms of the overall stats which are contained within the report, empty business premises rose from 267 to 294 over the duration of or the main duration of the COVID period from April 20 through to this September. However, the number of business premises registered for NNDR also increased from 4,361 to 4,455. So as a representative sample, around about 6.7% of the business premises were empty at that point in time. You'll be aware there are a number of classes of property and business that are exempt from business rates. And some of the reasons for that are the initial 3 or 6 month empty void period, insolvency if the buildings are a listed property, and there are a number of legal prescriptions as well. So the breakdown of those exemptions is shown in Appendix 1 to your report for your information. As you would probably expect in terms of the breakdown of the impact, our main towns have, I suppose, borne the brunt of the majority of the empty properties, and that overall figure is broken down in Appendix 2 in your report by those main community areas. In terms of grant regimes which have been available, I'm sure you'll be well aware that during the course of the COVID pandemic, there were a number of temporary arrangements put in place for the various periods of lockdown and closure and inability to trade by Welsh Government, which we administered. And over that 18-month period, well in excess of £50 million was paid out to businesses in Denbighshire. There were 2 more permanent types of support that are available. The first one is the Small Business Rate Relief Scheme, which is 100% relief for those properties, businesses with a rateable value of £6,000 or under, and it tapers off between £6,000 and £12,000 rateable value. The other more permanent one, although it's only for a 2-year period, which from Welsh Government, is the Retail, Hospitality and Leisure relief, which has been at 100% level for the 2020-21 and 21-22 financial years. There are, under the terms of the Localism Act, provision for discretionary elements which may be applied by ourselves as the local authority. However, those would be entirely at our cost to allow. So there's obviously a cost implication there, and perhaps more significantly, because it would be the risk that we would leave ourselves open, that if we gave benefit to one business and not to another, then we could be challenged on the grounds that we were providing benefits in terms of finance to one business over another. So that's an issue that we have to bear in mind. Final element of my part of the presentation, in terms of some of the underlying reasons for the business closures or vacancies. Whilst, as I've explained, there have been a number of initiatives in terms of trying to relieve the burden of business rates during the pandemic, that's not necessarily been reciprocated in terms of rental charges from business landlords. Not for me to comment why that is, but that tends to have been the situation. As an authority with our tenants, we gave business holidays and things like that, but of course we're a lot of a larger organisation to be able to sustain that. In terms of some of other businesses, there's been a degree of consolidation of businesses under one roof. There's a couple of examples in the report, things like Carphone Warehouse have gone into Currys, and therefore there's been, they've consolidated what were two separate business premises into one. And similarly, things like standalone Costas may have moved into another facility. And we can't also get away from the fact that even before COVID, people's shopping habits, I'm sure it's the same for all of us, had changed. Online shopping has become much bigger and more significant part of retail, and that's only been accelerated as a result of COVID. So in that respect, our own methodology of shopping and everything else has changed significantly, and I don't think we're ever going to step back from that. So I suppose there's a degree of element that we need to do. So I suppose from my perspective, that's the sort of the facts, the figures, and some of the background as to what has been provided in terms of support to businesses historically and ongoing. At this point, I think if I can hand over to Emlyn, and he and his team are going to take you through some of the items that we're actually going to have been doing and will be continuing to do to support businesses from an economic development standpoint. So Emlyn, if I can pass over to you now.
Thank you, Julian. Bore da pawb. And I'll, as I say, I'll touch on, I'll give a bit of an overview of what we've done to date, but I think a lot of the focus needs to be about what support we're going to be providing moving forward. I've got Gary Thomas here with me, which is, Gary's a lead officer within the Economic and Business Development team, and he's fairly new to the authority and to the team, so it's nice for Gary to have an experience of attending scrutiny as well, which is all really positive. So I'll hand over to Gary in a minute just to take you through a bit of the detail around what we are proposing. But if we think back a little, as Julian said, I think much of the focus once the pandemic hit was around making sure that businesses could access funding that they were eligible for. So it was a real team effort around making sure that we were going out and being proactive and contacting businesses to make sure they were aware that they could access funding and how they could do that. So that was much of the focus really, and a real team effort across all the service areas. If we also think back, and I think I reported this to a previous scrutiny committee, we also then developed a COVID recovery plan, which was very much around how do we support businesses and town centres to recover, to reopen safely, and to with the aim of obviously increasing footfall that had such a knock really during the COVID period. So there were lots of actions within that recovery plan, and we developed a town centre recovery group, which was involving town centre business groups, attended that meeting, as well as the destination management partnership from a tourism perspective, and key Denbighshire Council services really were working together, meeting on a really quite a regular frequency to look at how can we best support businesses moving through the pandemic period and out into recovery. So I won't dwell a lot on that because I know there's been various reports on the work that we have done. But I would certainly say that it is a complex picture, and certainly things are moving, aren't they, around how town centres will look for the future, and that branches also into the development of our local development plan as well, around how town centres will look and feel. And I know the work that we are doing around the new LDP will also look at doing town centre health checks and to understand how retail has developed, hasn't it, and changed over the years. How will our town centres look for the future? So that also will form part of a local development plan for the county and for us as a council, and that will be communicated to members as that work progresses, really through the strategic development, the strategic policy group, but also through to member area groups. So that's something that is on the verges of this topic, but is an influencing factor. Clearly, you'll know also about lots of work around Welsh Government's Transforming Towns funding, and Gary will take us through some of the projects that we're looking at for town centres for the future through accessing Welsh Government funding. And also members will be aware of levelling up and the opportunities that will bring us for the constituencies within Denbighshire. So I won't go on a lot, and I certainly won't steal Gary's thunder, but if I can, I'll hand over to Gary and he'll take you through some of the details in the report. Gary, hopefully you can hear me and hopefully you'll be okay to take over. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Emlyn, and thanks for the welcome as well today. With regards to some of the schemes and projects that we are currently working on, as we've highlighted in the report, beyond that, behind that, we have commissioned a business survey to provide us really with a greater understanding of the current challenges that our businesses are facing as a result of COVID and general trade as well. So that is currently active, and we will have some findings to share early new year, which then will help inform and shape future initiatives that we will lead on as a service. But some of the current projects that we've highlighted linked to the Transforming Towns funding that Emlyn's mentioned. So we have an exciting pop-up shop venture in Rill. So that is a test retail space, and that's seen as an enabler to businesses potentially that have started at home during COVID, entrepreneurs that are looking at entering retail space. So the project itself provides an opportunity for that business from home or from other towns within the county to come together to test trade, and the impact of that, we hope, will obviously drive an increase in footfall into the town, which benefits other businesses that are currently trading in the lead up to Christmas. And another project through Transforming Towns that we've highlighted within the project is a digital shop window. So this scheme would address a vacant space within our towns, so empty retail units, one, smarten them up, but to showcase locally produced products. That's something that we're working on. We're currently working on identifying suitable premises to move that one forward. I think it's key that we are looking at the future and the shape of what our towns are going to look like, as referenced by Emlyn there. And a key thing within that is the digital agenda and what initiatives and what uses we can make of technology, for one, help inform us, but in real terms to help assist our businesses in shaping their trading patterns. With that, we are currently working on a digital scheme with a partner called MEWN. What that scheme does is provide real data and comprehensive data on traction into our town centres. So that potentially will provide numbers of footfall, which is great, but it's smarter than that, in which it will identify potential dwell times, so how long people are in town, in our towns, potentially demographics of age, and we hope that will also transpire in the link between footfall and transactions within our retail spaces. In terms of other things, Emily's mentioned the Transform and Thematic Programme, as you would have found in the report. That's some of the capital schemes that we're working on, and they're supported as a region as well. I think we would now welcome any questions, one for myself and other colleagues that are on this call. But no, thank you. Thanks for reading the report.
Diolch yn fawr iawn, siaradwr cyntaf. Oes gan aelodau gwestiynau neu oes ar agor o gyflwyniadau I ddod, Julian? I'm asking, are there any...
Sorry, I'm muting myself. No, you know, if the officers are finished, I think we're quite happy to take questions at this point, Chair.
Okay. Fi'n edrych I weld Cynghorydd Rachel Flynn.
Thank you, Chair. Some of the questions I have is regarding around getting people into town centres. I think one of the ways of doing that is events, and also going back to the old days where we had, you know, pensioners would go out shopping on Wednesdays, or, you know, where they would go to the post office. And, you know, I think we need maybe to go back to basics with regards to getting footfall into town centres. Sometimes we miss the obvious things. And also one of the concerns I have is about the lack of parking, and the scheme that Welsh Government were offering where we could, you know, add the bollards into the town centres. You know, I think Prestatyn was very keen to like not take up most of our parking spaces, but I know a lot of other towns in Denbighshire have done that, and that seems to have backfired massively for a lot of shops on the high street. So, you know, obviously I just want to know a bit more about the silo working with maybe like an event side of things in town centres and also highways. If you could elaborate on that, thank you.
Diolch, Rachel. Who's taking the...
Yep. Mr Cadeirydd, hapus I gymryd hwnna I gychwyn efo? Emlyn yma.
Diolch, Emlyn.
Yep, thank you. I'm never too sure where my hand is on Zoom, so I apologise for not putting my hand up. But yes, I mean, certainly coordination, as you say, Rachel, is absolutely key. So that kind of business recovery group that I mentioned there was developed specifically for that, really, to make sure that we were pulling together key officers. So, for example, tourism and events officers, DLL, Mike from a car parking perspective, economic business development, town centre business groups themselves. So we're bringing them together to actually understand what those key issues are, and that decisions aren't made in isolation, really, as you just mentioned there. So we're not kind of, you know, deciding something over here which is going to have a negative impact on another service area, or they're not even aware of it. So I think that kind of greater coordination and communication is a priority for us. There's no doubt about it, and it is better than I think it has been. So I think events, yes. I think we're also looking at events infrastructure, aren't we, really? So I know there was a corporate plan project around encouraging community groups, more people to access support and equipment and so on through the corporate plan. But also to put better infrastructure in place. So I think that's something that we will continue to support. I think that's coming through also the information that we've got back out to the levelling up process, because when we've engaged with local members, events has come up, and you know, and even once the bid is submitted for levelling up, what we are going to be doing is having a list of projects and ideas that haven't made the levelling up shortlist, but we want to come back to town centre groups and to local members to see how we can push those forward. So I think, yes, I think coordination is important, and definitely we're working closely across different service areas on that. I don't know whether that answers your question around car parking, or whether that was a separate issue, but I know Mike's here as well, and he's part of the town centre recovery group, and I'm sure he'll be able to answer a question on car parking as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Emlyn.
Right, Rachel, are you happy with the response you've had?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just wonder if Mike is available just to come back. It was just really about, I feel sometimes that we access this money from Welsh Government and it's not necessarily a priority for our town, such as the bollards. So yeah, just wonder if Mike could just elaborate a little bit on if he's got any future plans, whether to remove the bollards or yeah, anything in the pipeline. Thank you.
Mike, are you available? Are you?
Yes, I am, Chair. Thank you, Borodar. Good morning, all. Yeah, I mean, in terms of that question, obviously, we also touched on the next item, of course. We'll be able to cover that in more detail. But essentially, as Emlyn has already said, as part of the town centre recovery work, the COVID schemes and the bollards and so on being introduced were discussed as part of that group. So there was that coordinated approach. It was always realised early on in identifying those projects that there was the potential that they were going to remove on-street parking to enable pavement to be widened, and there was always that trade-off really that needed to be considered. So yeah, it was taken into account. You know, there's clearly no sort of right or wrong answers. It's just something we have to be aware of. Obviously, businesses need space for loading, they need space for customers and so on, but it's balancing that against what off-street parking is available in the vicinity as well. And really, but when making those decisions and balancing that against the need to improve conditions for pedestrians, and at a time when obviously we were trying to increase space for social distancing and so on.
Diolch yn fawr. Okay, Rachel, thank you very much.
Diolch, thank you.
You want to put your hand down, Rachel, then I can keep an eye on what's happening. Joan, I think you're the next speaker.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I'd just like to thank the officers for the report. I think it is encouraging, I might say, and also to that, although I know that Julian isn't an officer, but I think the finance department have done absolutely tremendous work. I've had lots and lots of inquiries from businesses that were seeking grants and so on over the last many months, and I think that Denbighshire, being the administrative body for the distribution of the grant aids, has been really exemplary. I haven't had one complaint from anyone at all that has contacted me and has been signposted into Denbighshire to access grants for businesses and so on. So I think that the business people in the surrounding and certainly in the towns have been very well served, and I do thank you on their behalf. The other thing that I wanted to touch on was the footfall in the towns. It seems that there are honeypots that do and are experiencing problems in high season and especially on high days and holidays. And so I'm wondering if part of the town centre recovery group plan might perhaps look at some sort of imaginative transportation from town to town, from or around the village areas. But I do think that there is an awful lot to offer within the county, and I think that people that do come into our town shopping sometimes would benefit from moving on to sort of Prestatyn, Frill, Denbigh, Dyserth, different areas in and around larger shopping areas. And I think that might be something that we should explore. And just to touch on it lastly on the empty properties, if I may, I wonder if we're doing any work. I'm hopeful that the town centre recovery group, it seems to have all the right ingredients there. And I'm hoping that perhaps they will look at the empty properties within our town centres and look at if we can help with the leasing, because I think that we as an authority might well take up some of the empty shops. The pop-up shops are a classic example of how we are helping, but I think that empty properties that might have leases attached to them, that perhaps we as an authority might be able to pick up some of the leases and give short-term entrepreneurs short-term leases. And then if the businesses fail, the shop might be emptied, but filled by another person very quickly rather than left empty. But those are just three of the points that I wanted to say. One is a thank you, and the other two are hopeful that the town centre recovery group will take some perhaps initiative looking at transportation, imaginative transportation, and also the leasing. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Joan. Right, so the 3 points there, the two other tons of questions are the possibility of having a system where people, visitors, etc., can be transported easily and imaginatively from one community to another for the benefit of all communities across the county.
Absolutely.
And then the second one, possible help with leases, especially when a company which may be struggling over the few months and are committed then to holding on to a lease for months beyond their means.
Indeed.
Who would be able to pick that one up, please?
Mr. CADEIRYDD, MLN here. I'll make a start, and then we can. I'm sure colleagues can support. So I think the transport point is an interesting one actually, and I think we've seen this with. I'll give you an example of the AONB where we're actually. I think there was a recent pilot around providing some more transport options for people to get around the AONB area, but also importantly to actually signpost them when they are visiting AONB sites, to actually encourage them to come into the town centre and to town centres in the vicinity. So I think that's something again, and Hugh Rees, who is the countryside manager, is part of our group that are looking at kind of creative options. How can we encourage people to move on from these lovely areas that they're visiting in the AONB, but actually to encourage them to come into towns that they might not visit normally. So that's something that we are certainly looking at. And I know that Peter Daniels, our transport manager, is also involved in conversations around how can we look at encouraging commercial operators, bus operators and so on to understand where we are coming from as an authority and get involved in that discussion. So that's something that we are looking at. Empty properties certainly is a priority, and is also Welsh Government's priority, which we are now accessing funding and also legal support and expert support through Welsh Government. So again, I would hope that support that would be being provided there, as well as our own legal services, to look at all options around empty properties, including encouragement, enforcement, and any other options to actually make better use, get businesses into those properties, and particularly new starters as well, and encourage the pop-up options that Gary's mentioned. But I don't know whether Gary's got anything else to add around the empty properties and pop-up shop pilots and so on we are doing. Anything else you want to add, Gary?
Dale, thank you, Emma. I think you've covered it there. I think we're considering numerous options, aren't we? We're clear that there is a need. There's a clear need, and it's about us accessing Welsh Government funding and exploring other options. But it's high on our agenda.
Thank you. Could I ask then, Chair, if the initiatives seem to be already, or they're hopeful that there will be initiatives activated at some early stage. Could I ask then that Emlyn and Gary perhaps give updates to the MAGS meetings, perhaps every 3 months, to the MAGS meetings throughout the county, to give them a flavour of exactly where we are and perhaps where we're going in the future, rather than wait for a scrutiny, which we might not be able to do a scrutiny of the service for perhaps another 12 months. There will be then a new council in place, and it's good for them, whoever the new councillors are, to keep on board with exactly what's happening, and rather than wait for a scrutiny. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Yes, I don't think that's an unreasonable request. Emlyn, are we okay with that?
Hollol, I've no problem with that at all. Obviously, we really think it's important to let local members know about future projects, and I hope we do that. But certainly, I'm happy to come along to all the mags, and I think it would tie in quite nicely to follow on from the meetings that we've had with the mags around the levelling up, and then to look at then the regeneration projects and the town centre development projects that kind of come out of that process. So happy to do that, and I'm sure officers will be we will work with Democratic Services and the mags to get them on the forward work programme.
Thank you.
Christine Maston, your hand's been up.
Thank you, Chair. With regards to the pop-up shops, I think it's a brilliant idea, but perhaps it's quite scary as a retailer to sort of fill a complete shop. Have officers considered having a big store with many sort of artisan sort of producers as being part of it, sort of pulling collectively a group of people together? I know I've visited a place in Liverpool city centre, and this is what they did. And it was a lovely place to mooch around, but clearly it was quite separate people trading. And I thought that was a very good idea, because it's not shop is scary. The other question I wanted to ask is concentrating shops. Can you sort of pull shops that are situated on the outskirts of towns, encouraging them to come more into the middle of towns, so that filling up the sort of empty, vacant sort of shop fronts, has that been considered, and how proactive are you on that? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Christine. We may have lost part of your...
Oh, no.
We got the last part. We got the question in the end.
Okay.
If we don't get a reply to the bits we might have missed, then maybe you can remind us what it was, but we can actually pick up on the last part about the possibility of attracting shops, etc., on the outskirts of the town to move towards the centre of the town.
Yeah, diolch, Mr. Cadeirydd. I'm sure that Gary will come in on the point around the options that we've looked at, and you're right, though, that there are examples out there, aren't there, that we need to learn from, and I know we've visited other areas as well to understand what's been done elsewhere. Gary, I don't know whether you want to pick up on that point around options that we've considered and so on, and then I'll pick up on the second question afterwards. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Emily. And with reference to Councillor Martin's question, the pop-up that we are running in Real is going to be in this very, very similar format to which you've positively highlighted in Liverpool. So it is going to be a space with multiple producers together. So they will have their own trading space within a open market, in effect. So there's going to be a potential mixture there. So we will have traders that will be present. We'll also have an opportunity for startup businesses where potentially they have a full-time job, but they have a side business of a weekend, so they can showcase their business. But we're going to have a transactional option, so their goods can be sold as well, and when they're not present. So it has been considered, and you're right, we see that it is a challenge to take a big space for one business. So our pop-up that we are running this time is a multiple multitude of businesses coming together within one space. So it's going to have a bit of a market feel within a unit.
Okay, diolch yn fawr.
Diolch, Mr. Cadeirydd. Is it okay if I add to the second question now? Is that okay? Yeah, diolch. And actually, businesses moving into the town centre and encouraging the movement of businesses obviously links into the point around empty properties. There is a priority for most governments at the moment called Town Centre First, and I think there's certainly been lots of communication from Welsh Government around encouraging businesses to establish or to move into the town centre and the boundaries of the town centre. So I think that's certainly something. I haven't got all the information on me today, but I'd be happy to circulate some information about that to members after the meeting today to provide you with a bit more information. But I think it does link into the points around the the local development plan as well, and the development of the LDP for the future for Denbighshire. What will town centres look like? What will be the makeup of town centres? And it probably will be very different to what it's been up to now. So I think that's something that will be developed through the strategic planning group, and local members and our officers under Angela Loftus will come out to the MAGs to take you through that process and to understand the research that we are doing around health checking town centres, and how planning policy and other aspects will help to influence that in the future. So town centre first, yes. Welsh Government priority. So I'll share some information after today, which I haven't got with me today, but it certainly forms part of the work of the LDP and how that's going to be taken forward, which you'll all be part of as we come out to the MAGs. Thank you. Hopefully that answers the question.
Thanks very much. Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you.
I'm just thinking of that question too now. I believe it's a famous Swedish furniture store is about to open in the middle of the City of London and Oxford Street, which normally you would associate that store with out of town centres as well. So maybe we can watch to see what happens there. Thank you. David Williams, you're next on my list for speaking. Diolch yn fawr. You need to unmute yourself, David. David, you're on mute again, I'm afraid. There we go.
Is that better? Okay. Just very quickly to amplify what was said about transport. You know, you've got hubs like Llangollen and Rhyl, opposite ends of the county. There has to be room here for, I think, a mixture of Denbighshire-led private enterprise, basically, I think has been touched on. Get these coach firms to look at ways of opening up routes up the Vale of Clwyd. It's a lovely valley, whether it be from Llangollen end to Ruthin, or whether it be from the coastal end. But there's got to be scope there, I think, to bring in private enterprise. So that's all I want to say. Diolch yn fawr.
Diolch yn fawr, David. Yeah, absolutely. Diolch yn fawr. Melvin Mile, you're next.
I've just turned my video off just in case I break up. Not a question really, but just a thank you, I think, to the finance department. The quintile 2 in 2020, when this pandemic first hit. I mean, Llangollen was decimated. We thrive, exist really on tourists. We just didn't have any. It took until the end, until the summer, really, for people to start coming back, and they didn't come hurtling back initially, and then, and then everything got going again until we had the winter closed down. But what I want to say is that the distribution of the NNDR and the small business rate relief scheme by Denbighshire was crucial in allowing those traders to stay open. I mean, because without the tourists, Llangollen is a quiet town. We're a small town, and it was just fabulous that that support was there. And just being very parochial again for a minute, I'll be talking about town centres being regenerated. We're very lucky in Llangollen in that we've been working on something called 2020 for over 3 years now, and it's just about now coming to fruition. The paving, we're having much wider pavements in Llangollen. York stone being laid down. It looks beautiful already. It's something that should have been done in Llangollen years ago. Luckily, it's been done now at just the right time. It'll be a great start for this town to get going again. Thanks to the finance department, and thanks to Mike Jones and his team for sticking with us on the 2020. It's really going to show a benefit for Llangollen. Thank you very much.
Don't think there's a question there. It's just a statement which will be appreciated, I'm sure, by those who have been listening there. Rachel, you want to come back possibly, do you, on what you've heard?
No, thank you, Chair. It was just a separate question. I have two constituents in my ward that had businesses in the town and separately had issues with drainage and rogue landlords, and they were almost pushed out of their properties and eventually set up businesses from their homes. Just what support can Denbighshire give to private businesses with regards to enforcement to these rogue landlords to make sure that their premises are fit for purpose, as that is a problem sometimes.
Any response on that?
Yeah, diolch, Mr. Cadeirydd. Thank you, Rachel. So I think we've certainly, where these types of issues obviously are posing health and safety risks around the state and condition of premises, then we can certainly intervene. I appreciate it's difficult and sensitive often, isn't it, between a tenant and a landlord, but you know, it's probably comparable to a private rented sector kind of situation really. So I think certainly if there are issues like that, then we can support through our public protection team around health and safety standards. But that's, and obviously then, you know, we have access to organisations such as Business Wales, don't we, and other support organisations outside of the council, where we can then liaise with them and see what support they can provide as well. So that's probably, just listening to that, that's probably the first reaction. But if we think of anything else, we can certainly contact you directly and think what other support we can provide.
Thank you, Emlyn.
Diolch, Emlyn. Cynghorydd Thomas.
Diolch, Mr Cadeirydd. Mae gen I 3 cwestiwn. Maen nhw'n 3 cwestiwn hollol wahanol hefyd. The first of my 3 questions, we all realise for Denbighshire to have a successful future, that small businesses are crucial to all of this. I was disappointed during the summer when Denby at a weekend was full of visitors, many of them first-time visitors, and many shops were shut. I know that on a Sunday in Denby, for example, I think I'm right in saying that there wasn't a single cafe open, and there were people looking to spend money. I was looking for a coffee, so I'm quite sure that there were no cafes open. Now, our job is to encourage and support businesses. So my question, are officers finding that some businesses are reticent to partake in some schemes? Are they possibly inflexible in terms of opening times, opening days, and so on? Is that a problem that officers find? That would lead me on to saying that one of the other things we've talked about today, which is encouraging, is that we need to encourage new businesses who maybe have different business models and need to be more flexible. So there is a question there. Are we finding that businesses are reticent to change their way of working in order to encourage more visitors to come from these honeypot sites that we hear about? So that's my first question. I don't know if somebody wants to answer that one first. Diolch, Mr Cadeirydd.
So, who's going to do that?
Diolch, Mr Cadeirydd, and I'll hand over to Gary because I'm sure he's got some evidence and information from the discussions we're having with businesses. But certainly, Gary mentioned at the beginning there that we are, well, there was a regional business needs survey done some months ago as part of COVID recovery. So we've got some intelligence from that. But also we're, as Gary mentioned now, we're doing our own specific survey, which of course we'll want to share with members before it goes out, and to make sure we can get your support to actually cast the nets as wide as possible to get really good feedback on that. There might well be an opportunity to look at adding some questions around that point specifically that Councillor Thomas mentioned there. So we need to gather as much information as we can do to understand whether there are those issues and what can we do about them. But I don't know, Gary, I don't know whether you want to add anything around information that you've gleaned from the EBD team and from businesses in particular.
Yeah, thank you, Emlyn. I think it's a good point. With regards to the questions raised by Councillor there, that within the survey, we're asking those exact questions. Is the business operations, has it changed due to COVID? And in which way? And at the same point, for town centre businesses, what their plans are moving forward to take advantage of the new spending patterns, new footfall patterns that we're seeing. But within that, our own survey will bring that data to us to then help inform what actions we'll take as officers to support those businesses moving forward. But yes, it is certainly already noted within the survey that's currently live.
Okay, thank you, Gary. And there are encouraging signs in a town like Denbigh of new businesses, people who are coming into businesses for the first time and who are possibly more flexible. So I think there is information needed as to why maybe some businesses are closed when a town is full of people looking to spend money. So thank you for your answer there. My second question, and this might show how little I know about this subject, there's mention in the document about the rent charged for retail properties, and I have personal experience 4 years ago of a small number of us trying to take over a small shop in Denbigh and failing to do that because of the very high price and non-negotiable price of the rent. And those 2 or 3 shops that we approached are still empty 4 years later, and yet they would not accept a slightly lower rent that we were willing to pay them and pay in advance and sign a contract for 2 or 3 years. I suppose this is something which the council has very little control over, but is this conversation happening between officers and landlords? It's not exactly that we've got a John Lewis in Denbigh. I think it'd be quite busy if we have, but I know that shops like that have pulled out from various shopping centres because of the high cost of rents and so on. But on a smaller scale, is that a problem, do officers think? Thank you.
Before you answer that, can I just tag a question onto that's one that Councillor Thomas just asked now, in terms of the rent of a property. Now, that if I had a domestic property which was empty for more than 6 months, I would be obliged then to start paying the domestic rates for that property, whether it's occupied or not. Does the same apply to business premises? So I can tag that onto your question if you don't mind, Chris. Okay, diolch yn fawr.
Mr. Cadeirydd, sorry.
No, go on, Emlyn. I was just.
Oh, sorry, Julian, carry on, and I'll come in afterwards with anything. Yeah.
Yep. No, that's fine. I was just going to say. I mean, to a certain extent, it is. Well, to a large extent, it's very much out of our control, as you indicated, Rhys. And clearly, there's a whole wide range of landlords that are involved in this, from somebody who might just have inherited a property, and owns one shop, and they might live locally, in which case they might be more inclined, to somebody who, it's part of a huge portfolio and they're located somewhere at the other end of the country, and it's just a business agenda, and it's a number. And it's very difficult to I mean, I don't want to put words in Emlyn's mouth, and I'm sure we'll come back, but it's very difficult to influence certainly the latter class of landlord. As I say, obviously, we took a decision that we would, for our tenants, we would do that because we're a local authority and we're in a position where we could do that. Clearly, some people, it could be a significant portion of their income comes from the rent of one property or a couple of properties that they own, and they might well not have that flexibility. It's very much a horses for courses. But I'll hand over to Emlyn for perhaps more of a technical response.
Oh. Julian, at least you didn't say maybe they didn't like my face.
I think that was a really comprehensive response, Julian. I got nothing much to add to that, but I think that's the experience we've had when we've tried to tackle eyesore properties and so on, when we're dealing with distant, landlords the other side of the world and so on. So I think that's really challenging. But I've got nothing further to add to what you've just said there. Thank you.
Okay, I think...
Sorry, perhaps Rod can just pick up the answer as to whether after 6 months. I think that's the case. I think Rod, I'm sure, can confirm that.
Thank you, Julian. Borodar all, and I hope everybody's well. In terms of empty rates in business and NNDR, dependent upon what the classification of the property is. So if it's, say, for instance, an office or a shop, it would get 3 months empty rates period. And then after that 3-month empty rate period, it would then be liable to pay, in effect, the same as if it was occupied. Okay, for an industrial property, factory, warehouse, and even, say, some of our units that we've got on our industrial estates, the exemption period would be 6 months, and then it would clock into a full charge. As Julian superbly mentioned earlier on, with regards to highlighting some of the exemptions, depending on what, so if it was a small rateable value ascribed to the property, it could potentially be below the £2,900 de minimis figure, in which case there'd be nothing to carry on paying. But the majority of the properties within the actual high street are above that threshold. They're typically retail in nature, albeit that there are some which are offices as well. And there would then be as I say, it would then clock into, in effect, a full charge. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for your patience as well. This was something that was raised yesterday at our pre-meeting, and even though I'm a person who likes to look at tables of data, I'm only asking for a very, very short answer. We were looking at the footfall figures, and we were wondering whether from the footfall figures for the towns in Denbighshire, were there any overall trends that were apparent? Because I couldn't really see them other than that there was a dip and there was an increase again. So very, very briefly, is there an obvious pattern there? Are there any town centres that are proving an exception to that pattern? And finally, if I can use Denby as an example, but this would be true for other towns, businesses are no longer just located at the town centre. Denby has a busy retail park. Denby has small and large businesses that have moved out to Colomendy Industrial Estate. So those places are very busy. It's so busy in Colomendy that you need 3 cafes there to provide lunches and so on during the day. So when we look at footfall, are we including those areas like the retail park, if it's Denby, and the other places that shops are found, or are we just looking at footfall in the actual, what used to be called the town centre? Thank you, Chair.
Maybe we can add a quick question for myself, and how is the footfall measured?
Yep, Mr. Cadeirydd, Emlyn here. I think I'll ask Gary to answer this one. He's probably got the operational knowledge of how the survey is undertaken. So thank you.
Thank you, Emlyn. Yeah, so the footfall is counted by sensors that are located on entry points to our town centres. That's the current way in which we capture footfall. But as mentioned in the report, we are looking at smarter ways to capture footfall, and that potentially will encompass the locations that you mentioned there, such as the parks, the retail parks adjacent to town centres as well. The data we're looking to capture is dwell time, and the key thing really is the interlink between visiting a town centre and spend, and where they're spending, and that pattern. And that's some of the projects that we're looking at digitally of scoping an increase to enhance the data that we've collected to date moving forward. With regards to the question you posed, Councillor Thomas, with regards to trends, you're right with that. Naturally, there was a clear dip during COVID times as we had government restrictions, and that has recovered. There are examples, as mentioned within the tables that we've shared in the appendix, that, for example, RHAGLEN is one example. They did see an increase, but we do need to consider, yes, we're now back to potentially where we were pre-pandemic, but it's the ongoing monitoring of this recovery phase now, and that's potentially where we'll see which towns are seeing an increase. Now we're back to more normal times.
Okay, thank you. I mean, one point that struck me was that the bigger the dip during the first lockdown, that is in areas where people were conforming more to the lockdown rules and staying at home, then it's much easier for them to show a massive percentage increase now that we've come out of lockdown. So when we see that a town centre has 195% increase, that could be because it was from a very, very low point. Is that a correct interpretation of those figures?
Yeah, so what we are doing is we're always mindful to consider the data from what we see, what we're talking about as post-COVID recovery, conscious that we're still in the challenging time, as we all know. But our baseline data will be 2019, and that will be the comparable that we'll be considering moving forward.
Okay, thank you for the comprehensive report. Thank you for your replies. Diolch yn fawr iawn.
Diolch yn fawr iawn. Diolch Rhys am cwestiynau. Cyn I mi symud at Meirig Davies I bod yn aros yn amyneddgar iawn yn y cefndir, dwi am roed yn nghwestiwn I mewn fel un o'r pwyllgor gyntaf, Meirig, a wedyn na I ddod â chdi mewn wedyn. Dim ond, os gai gyfeirio'n sydyn at paragraff 4.13, 10,000 o bunnau ar gyfer busnesau sy'n sefydlu, a dwi'n nodi mai yn y rhyl mae'r peilot hwn yn cael ei redeg I ddechrau. Mae'n debyg bod 22 ymateb wedi bod hyd yn hyn. Ydy hyn yn destun balchder a gobaith, neu ydy o'n ffigwr siomedig? Mae dim ond 22 sydd gofyn y cwestiynau. A wedyn, pa bryd gafodd yr gronfa entrepreneuriaeth canol tref ei sefydlu?
Diolch, Mr. Cadeirydd. If I can ask Gary just to respond on those 2 points, he's probably aware of the information. Thank you, Gary.
Yes, I'll pick up that, and thanks. With regards to the Town Centre Entrepreneurship Fund, so Rhyl is one of 4 pilot towns, which offers up to £10,000 per business to locate themselves within Rhyl. With regards to the 22 applications or expressions of interest, the scheme itself is administered by Business Wales, so it does sit outside of our remit. But what we're finding within the 4 pilot towns, that the application levels are fairly similar. So whilst we're not discouraged, it is a pilot that obviously we'll see what the impact of that, and if it's decided at Welsh Government level, if it's going to roll to other locations. But the 22 is in line with the other 4 towns.
Right. Linked possibly with this is the Maybe Tech, the digital, which is in Appendix 6. Can I just ask, because Rhyl is actually mentioned in terms of the link with that project, the digital project as well, that Maybe Tech, small towns or smart towns? I've seen both references. Which is it? Because if we're talking small town, I'm thinking possibly there are smaller towns than Rhyl who could be benefiting from that.
Thank you. And yes, it is smart towns. You're correct. It's a smart towns project.
Smart, yeah?
Yes, certainly is.
Right, thank you. Sorry, un arall gen I, 4.4, There is mention there for businesses which actually who qualify for rate relief, the NNDR, etc. Beth ydy ystyr cymhwyso? Hynny ydy, pa fusnesau fyddai'n gymwys a pha fusnesau fyddai ddim yn cymhwyso?
Thank you, Chair. In terms of the qualification for small business rates relief, any business can actually get it as long as they're actually in occupation of the property and their rateable value is below the £12,000 threshold. The Welsh Government scheme limits the number of properties. It limits the number of properties that a business could have that would qualify for small business rates relief to 2. Previously, it was open-ended, but this changed a few years back. So if, for argument's sake, you had a business which took on 3 small shop units in one of our towns, and they had a rateable value of £6,000, £7,000 and £8,000, under the Welsh Government scheme, they would only be able to get small business rates relief on 2 of those 3 properties. And what we would have to do as officers is we have to perform what's known as a better buy calculation, so that they would get the maximum amount of small business rates relief across the 2 properties.
Iawn, diolch yn fawr. Reit, mae gen i 2 gwestiwn aelodau tu allan i'r Pwyllgor rwan. Mae gen i Hildy Roberts yn dymuno siarad, ond mae llaw Meric wedi bod i fyny o'r cychwyn. Geith Meric wedi fewn gyntaf, a wedyn fyddai'n gwahodd Hildy Roberts i ddod i mewn. Meric?
Diolch yn fawr unwaith eto, Parcus Gadeirydd, am y cyfle yma. Gyntaf hefyd diolch am yr ymchwil a'r adroddiad, a'r ymatebion y bore yma hefyd sydd yn addysgiadol iawn. Dwi'n yn gwybod, ges i wybod blynyddoedd yn ôl, dwi'n yn gwybod ydy o'n dal i fod, ond da chi wedi bod yn sôn am pan bod rhentu siopau yn uchel. Un o'r rhesymau ges i ateb iddo fo oedd bod y portffolio yn well i werthu, os fydd angen gwerthu, yn gallu dangos pa mor uchel mae modd cael rhent i'r siop. Diolch yn dangos bod nhw wag, na'n byd felly, ond dyna oedd yr ateb ges i. Beth bynnag, gwybodaeth o hwnna. Mae gynna i ambell i gwestiwn os wneith y swyddogion wrando'n ofalus, dwi'n gwybod bod fi'n siarad yn Gymraeg. Da chi yn rhestr atodiad 2 yn rhifo gwahanol drefydd ac un ddinas, ond be am trefnant, disser, rhyddlan ac yn y blaen, lle mae yna siopau a mae yna rei gwag. Hefyd yn y rhestr yna yn atodiad 2, be di ystyr parcio ac hefyd arall? Parking, other, mae yna 2 golofn. 9 di cyfanswm 1 ac 1 di'r llall, ond be di'w hystyr nhw? Y cwestiwn nesaf, dwi'n gwybod bod Mike Jones mynd i drafod hwn yn rhifin 6, ond ddari Rachel godio, ac dwi'n jyst isio, ydy o'n dangos yn yr adroddiad. Ydy siopau wedi cael siomiant oherwydd y kilo ddi ar y ffyrdd a'r gwrthod lle parcio, neu ydy'r siopwyr ddim wedi dod i'r dre oherwydd hynny. Os yna rhyw wybodaeth am hynny, a dwi'n meddwl mai hwn di'r cwestiwn ola, da chi wedi sôn am siop dros dro, a wrach fydd y cadeirydd yn gallu cynorthwyo ni fama, ond y siop dda iawn yn Rhuthun, yn yr hen ddarlundu, pictures, yn gwerthu hen bethau, ac oedd wahanol siopau yn fanno, ac oedd hi'n siop ardderchog, dweud y gwir, i gael rhyw awr o amser i fynd o'i chwmpas i. Ond os modd gwneud rhywbeth felly, mewn trefydd eraill, heblaw rhyl felly. Diolch yn fawr iawn.
Diolch yn fawr, Meric. Dwi'n siŵr pwy sy'n cymryd yr atebion yna. Falle bod y ail gwestiwn di yn ymyrlu mewn gwirionedd yr eitem nesaf ar yr agenda. Os ydych sôn am yr drefn cyrhau y ffyrdd, ac efallai felly ni ddal hwnnw nôl tan awn ni gyrraedd yr eitem hwnnw ar yr agenda.
Ie, Mr Cadeirydd, Emlyn sy'n yma, di'n iawn i fi? Na i gychwyn pethau ffwrdd. Cwestiwn cyntaf, gobeithio, jyst yn sbio ar appendix 2, gobeithio ella bydd Rod neu Paul efo gwybodaeth o ran yr empty properties na lle yn y tabl na. Cwestiwn 2, yn sicr dwi'n cytuno, mae gen i adroddiad am yr gwaith Covid Active Travel Schemes, so os di pawb yn hapus, dwi'n siŵr fydd yna drafodaeth am hynny hwyrach ymlaen. Pwynt 3 o ran y siop yn Ruthin, yn sicr, fel ydon ni, mae'r pilots yn Rhyl yn beilot ydyn ni'n mynd i adolygu ac edrych pa mor llwyddiannus di o, fedra ni wedyn sbio ar ydy hwnna'n addas ac fysa fo'n gweithio yn trefi eraill ni wedyn lle de. So mae o'n sicr yn gynllun pilots i ddysgu ohono fo ac i weld wedyn sut fysa hwnna'n gallu cael ei weithredu mewn trefi eraill. So yn sicr y bwriad ydy dysgu o hwnna a gweld sut sy'n ffitio yn rhywle arall. Dwi'n yn gwybod os di Rod efo unrhyw wybodaeth efo'r cwestiwn cyntaf. Diolch.
Thank you, Emlyn. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councillor Davis, for your question. In respect of the data that's been provided in terms of your, the appendix, in terms of Appendix 2, there at the time that the report was done, there wasn't actually any empty property within Trefnan on the business rate system. It could be that we hadn't been notified of it. However, quite happy to undertake a review and see where that actually is. In terms of your other point, what is parking and what is other in terms of the classification. Parking is where the valuation office has brought an assessment in, and it's parking spaces. So believe it or not, individual car parking spaces can actually attract a rateable value if they could be sold, say, as part of the business or things along those lines. So that covers, in effect, parking. In terms of other, this could be all of our sort of like classification. So it doesn't fall into retail, offices, industrial, or parking. It could be that it's a telecommunications mast. It could be that it's empty land. Those are just a couple of the areas where it could be. We've got one which we've got some properties which are a clinic in premises, gymnasia in premises. So they don't naturally fit into one, as it were, one specific category or another. So rather than making that appendix look absolutely incredibly long-winded, what I did was I actually categorized them as other. I hope that's okay.
Diolch fawr iawn.
Thank you.
Diolch yn iawn. Cynghorydd Hildy Roberts, dwi'n gwybod os wyt ti eisiau datgan diddordeb efo hwn i ddechrau cyn... Cynghorydd Hildy Roberts. Ti ar y mute, mae'n debyg, Hugh.
Diolch yn Davies. Ymddiheuro, fyddai'n ffeindio lle mae'r llaw yn mynd i fyny. I just want to come back on the question before about the town centres are back to pre-COVID, really. Just to, I suppose, about declaring an interest that I have the two town centre businesses in Denbighshire. Just to give you a flavour of one of my post offices, is pre-COVID, the footfall was 2,300 people a week. We are now averaging about 1,200 a week. And it's taken a long time to get back up to that level. My income is severely down. And we are still suffering because of the demographics of the Ruthian area, for example, of old people still not confident in coming out in the same way as they did pre-COVID. I then share with my Denbigh post office, which was 1,800 footfall a week, and it's down to about 750. And you know, it's having a significant impact on income. So I just want to be clear that whatever your source of information and confidence you're gaining from town centres being back, they may be in certain areas, but in the two towns of Ruthian and Denbigh, there certainly isn't. And I think also, to Rhys's point, there's been a shift to industrial estates, the population of that increasing, and therefore that reduces the town centre. And I just think we need to understand, because, for example, nobody, whatever the research has been undertaken, nobody's asked me. And having owned 2 post offices in 2 towns, which is the significant service of banking, as well as postal and pensions and everything else. And, you know, something that you gain confidence. Well, in my 2 post offices, I sell £3 million worth of travel money every year. And I haven't sold in the last 12 months over 30. So I just think I find it really hard when I'm sitting here that everybody thinks it's rosy, when in reality, you know, I've had to let 2 members of staff go. And you know, I don't know what, this is the first month after furlough's finished. It's the first time all my staff are back. So, you know, how we can gain confidence a month after furlough, I really want to check the rationale and the metrics that we're using to measure this, because I don't think it's a true reflection. So it's be negative, but I'm just giving you a bit of stark reality of what it is out there.
Diolch yn fawr, Hugh. I'm sure somebody will pick that up in a minute. Can I just add to that? I think para 4.8, my comment on that is, it's not a question, it is a comment. Despite the support that has been provided in terms of rates, relief, etc., is many shops are continuing to face challenges in running a successful business, and I think that is what is behind Hugh's comments, if I'm correct, and I think Hugh possibly is speaking on behalf of other businesses as well who fail.
I'm taking the soundbite of Ruthian and Denbigh businesses, definitely.
Yeah, diolch yn fawr. Any response to that?
Diolch, Mr. Cadeirydd. No, I agree. I think the survey is part of the story, isn't it, really? And the footfall figures is part of the story. So I think we're certainly not basing our interventions and on the support and so on, and how much support we're giving solely on the footfall figures. That's part of the information that we're analysing and so on. So I think hopefully, you know, the survey, you know, we want to push that out as much as we can to get that input, and obviously we'll share that with local members to get as much of a response as possible to understand about future needs. But hopefully members will get a reassurance from today that we're certainly not of the opinion that things are back to normal and everything's fine. It's actually, no, there's a raft of support that's needed for businesses. And, you know, we've seen lots of new businesses start up as well, haven't they, that possibly haven't had the support that they need early on. So I think I agree, it's not a rosy picture, certainly. The footfall figures is part of the story, and we're certainly not hanging back on the support that's needed, really. So, diolch.
Diolch yn fawr, Hugh, diolch yn fawr, Emlyn, am yr ateb, diolch yn fawr. Reit, dwi'n meddwl bod rhaid i ddilwyn y mater yma i ben, dyn ni wedi mynd dros yn hamser i, dwi'n siŵr o hynny. Ga i fynd at yr argymhelliad yn ei rhif 3, paragraff 3, bod y Pwyllgor yn ystyried cynnwys yr adroddiad ac yn darparu sylwadau ar y materion sydd o fewn yr adroddiad. The committee considers the content of the report and provides observations on the matters reported herein. Nid rhywun gynnig os gwelwch yn dda. Thank you, Christine. Seconded, Rachel, are you seconding it? Diolch yn fawr. Pawb yn cytuno? We all agree with that? chi dangos os gwelwch yn dda, my hand is up. You can't see me. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Oh, you can't see me with the camera. Yeah. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Reit. Awn ni'n ymlaen. Gawn ni gymryd egwyl o rw 5 munud bach? Yeah. Yeah.
I'll vote for that, yeah.
A comfort break and then we'll come back. I'm saying 5 minutes, we'll kick off as soon as we can after 5 minutes. Diolch yn fawr.
Thank you.
Item 6 ar y agenda lle dyn ni yn trafod y cynlluniau teithio llesol oedd wedi cael ei gosod yn y trefi yn Sir Ddinbych yn ystod y Covid. Dwi'n isio cymryd y gwynt o chwilio neb sy'n cyflwyno'r hwn i ddechrau. Mae o'n fater sydd wedi cael i'w graffu yn ôl yn Rhagfyr llynedd. Ac mae hwn hyma yn gen bron i heddiw am bod ni wedi gofyn am ddiweddariad ymhen 6 mis. Mae'n fwy na 6 mis wedi mynd heibio, a dyna beth yw pwrpas hwn. Can I extend a welcome to former County Councillor Stuart Davis from Llangollen, who has requested to be able to address the committee on this matter, and that has been permitted by myself from the chair. It was my prerogative to whether to allow an address to happen or not, as is the norm. And yes, I'm happy for the address to take place. He was welcome to the meeting. You will be invited to address the meeting after we've done the scrutiny part with the officers and members involved first. And then after everybody have had their questions addressed, I will invite you to step in then, and then we will go to the recommendation as we can see on the report. Members of the committee will have received an email yesterday afternoon where there is reference made to members of the public in Llangollen and also to a member of this committee. All we ask is that we keep personalities out of any discussion this afternoon, please. We do not name names. We simply share our opinions and our concerns or our support for the actual COVID schemes, the active travel schemes that was put in place at the time. Diolch yn fawr. Brian, welcome to the meeting. We've already welcomed Mike and Emlyn for the previous part, and Ben has now joined us for this part of the meeting. So, croeso Ben i'r cyfarfod hefyd. Nawn ni gychwyn efo chi, Cynghorydd Brian Jones, sydd yn arwain ar y mater hwn. Diolch yn fawr.
Thank you, Chair. And very briefly, hopefully, I'm broadcasting live from Sunny Rill this morning with a new pioneering full fibre cable connection, so there should be no need for me to turn my camera off again. So hopefully you can hear me clearly, Chair.
I can certainly hear you. I'm missing the conservatory, but there we are. So,
well, that's the,
possibly,
anyway, we'll get to the matter in hand. So hopefully you can confirm I'm coming through loud.
Closer to the microphone, Brian, because you sound a bit far away from me.
Right. Shouldn't do. Everyone else hear me okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Good. Right then, we'll get into it then. You've already mentioned, Chair, we were at scrutiny back in December last year, on the 17th of December, with a report, and that report, as you're probably all aware, is included in this pack. And you've already mentioned, Chair, that we're here today for an update on that report. And so we've got the main officers here, Ben Wilcox-Jones, Mike Jones and Emlyn Jones. The schemes were implemented across Rill and Ruthin and Llangollen. And again, there's detail in this report this morning on how that progressed. That really is all I've got to say. So I'd like to invite the officers in just to run through some of the detail on the specifics of each of the scheme.
Diolch yn fawr, Brian. Reit, pa swyddog sy'n mynd i arwain? Sy'n ni'n meddwl allan mae Ben sydd, ie? Na?
Fydd Mr Cynghorydd Emlyn yma eto. I'll just kick off and then thank you to Brian for that, for starting us off there really. And Mike will take us through the report itself. Ben's here as well, obviously, who was involved in all the schemes really. Obviously, we as Brian said, we've been to scrutiny in December, and obviously this report now will reflect even more about the schemes themselves, lessons that were learned during that period, and we've also done a similar exercise with SLT, so that we are also sharing any lessons learned from the schemes themselves, and if other services then could benefit from that learning, then we've done that already. So obviously Mike will take you through the detail now, but I'm sure many of you will be aware of lots of it from the previous report in December, so we won't dwell too much on that, but obviously we'd welcome any questions at the end. So if that's okay, just to pass you over to Mike and he'll take you through. Diolch.
Diolch yn fawr, Emlyn. Before Mike starts, I'm sure a lot of the members will be drawing on their experiences in their communities in this discussion as well. So I'm sure it is, as you say, lessons learned is the important factor for us today, as opposed to having a post-mortem as we had back in December last year. But we'll move on. Mike?
Thank you, Chair, and Barada, good morning again. So I won't go through the report in too much detail because hopefully you've all had a chance to have a read of it in advance of the meeting. As you've heard, when we came to scrutiny last December, at the time that report focused on the process that had gone through, the purpose of the grants that Welsh Government had made available. And at the time we wrote that report, the schemes had been implemented in Rhyl, in Ruthin and Llangollen, and had only been implemented a few weeks earlier prior to that meeting. At the time now that we're in front of you, all three schemes have now been removed, and the Llangollen one was the most recent, which was removed in advance of the Llangollen 2020 scheme commencing, and following the relaxation to level 0 of the Welsh Government restrictions. The projects, however, in Ruthin, was the first one to be removed, and that was removed back in February of this year. And the Rhyl one was removed kind of end of April, early May of this year. In the case of both the Ruthin scheme and the Rhyl scheme, we did, of course, have lockdown, which came, or a further period of lockdown, which kicked in, you'll recall, 20th of December of last year, which unfortunately was only sort of 6-7 weeks after the schemes had been implemented, and went through a period of our town centres obviously being very quiet as a result of the lockdown. The Ruthin scheme, as I say, was removed within that period. The Rhyl one was there for the Easter period, but it was then removed shortly afterwards. You'll recall, hopefully from the original report, that the decision-making process around these schemes was based on, we did some engagements back in July of last year. The feedback from that engagement was then presented to the respective MAGs. The MAGs made a recommendation on the respective scheme for their town. And then following that, the lead member, Councillor Brian Jones, made a decision based on the recommendation. And the same decision-making process was followed for the removal of the schemes as well, just to make that clear in case that wasn't clear in the report. So unless Ben or Emlyn, if there's anything else you'd like to add, I'm happy to open it up for questions.
Diolch yn fawr. I'm seeing Ben shaking his head. Emlyn, na?
Dim byd i adio, diolch, Mr Cadeirydd.
Rwan i'r aelodau. Dwi'n gweld llaw Rhys Thomas i fyny gyntaf. Rhys, ti eisiau dod i mewn? Rhys Thomas, mae dy law di fyny. Wyt ti ar y mute wrach? Right, I'm looking to see if any other hands up. I'll come back to his when I can see he's unmuted. Right, I've got it. Right, well, if I can actually refer to my own town initially then, because as I said, we are going to be drawing our own experiences with this. Gai gyfeirio'n sydyn at yr hyn welson ni yn Rhuthun. Fi'n siŵr fydd o'n hyd aelodau ni. Fi'n meddwl bod y cynghorydd Bobby Feely wedi gorfod gadael I fynd I gyfarfod arall, ond bydd yn hyd aelodau fi yn siŵr o fod eisiau cyfrannu os ydyn nhw yma. Mi gychwynnon ni yn Rhuthun gyda yr arolwg, yn dilyn arolwg yr cyhoedd, bod yna gefnogaeth yn gyffredinol i'r cynlluniau, fe gychwynnon ni'n Rhuthun o blaid treialu yr cynllun fel yr oedd. Ac fe osodwyd, oedd wedi clywed bod wedi cael ei osod I mewn yn mis Chwefror, ond yn fuan iawn welson ni bod yna broblem yn codi yn un stryd yn Rhuthun yn benodol. Fi'n eisiau mynd dros yr hyn o wna, da ni wedi gwneud eisoes cyn hyn, ond yna un stryd yn peri cryn problemau o ran dod â nwyddau I mewn i'r dre a wedyn caniatau i'r nwyddau i'r faniau a loriau bach a rhai mwy weithiau I ddadlwytho heb effeithio'r traffig. Mi roedd y traffig wedyn yn dildio fyny lawr stryd y ffynnon arbennig ac mi roedd yna gryn dipyn o broblemau gyda hynny yn yr rhan ono o'r dre. Ac pe bai hi wedi bod yn bosib I ni fod wedi cael gwared o'r bolads oedd ar y stryd rhan ono o'r stryd a cadw yr hyn oedd yn weddill yn stryd y farchnad, mi fyswn ni felly wedi llwyddo I gadw yr cynllun yn ei le mwy neu lai, colli un stryd, ond cadw fo yn stryd y farchnad lle sydd wedi digon llydan I ganiatáu I draffig fedru fynd I lawr yn hwylus ac I gerddwyr ac I beicwyr ddod I fyny ac I lawr yn ôl yr angen hefyd. Yn anffodus doedd hynny ddim I fod achos o symud un rhan o'r cynllun fe ddwedwyd wrthyn ni oddi wrth y swyddogion y byddai'r rhaid i'r cynllun I gyd fynd. Fi'n meddwl bod ni'n iawn yn dweud oedd y tri ond ni'n fodlon I fyw gyda'r cynllun un ffordd I weld os oedd yn gweithio gan wybod y byddai modd newid os oes angen. A fe newidwyd rhannau ono fo yn Rhuthun a stryd y farchnad enghraifft mwyn hwyluso cerbydau I wedi cyrraedd cefn Wetherspoons a Middletons achos mi roedd yna draffaeth ono ddechrau ac yn ôl mi gadwodd y swyddogion at ei gair a dweud na, mewn I newid hwnnw, nid yn hwylus iddyn nhw. Ond yn anffodus, colli'r cwpl oedd rhaid I ni wneud yn y diwedd yn hytrach na chadw elfennau ohono fo. Y cwestiwn gyda I ynghylch hyn ydy, pam bod hyn yn bod, pam na fysyn ni wedi gallu cadw o leia un rhan o'r stryd mwyn cario ymlaen gyda'r gealu ar y stryd yna. Stryd gyda llaw sydd o ychydig iawn o fusnesau oddi arno fo I gymharu â stryd y ffynnon. Diolch yn fawr.
Okay, I'll answer that, Chair. I mean, the discussions we had at the time were that if we were to retain the one way on Well Street, but essentially restore the width of Well Street as it had been previously, there were two issues with that. We had safety concerns that leaving it, because essentially when you make a street one way, it does increase traffic speeds. So then if you're also removing the physical narrowing of the street, which is what we'd have been doing, there was a safety concern from that. There was also a second issue with respect to the temporary traffic regulation order that had been made, because what essentially happened was that the grounds that temporary traffic regulation orders can normally be made are on things like for interest of public safety, such as perhaps there's an unsafe building or there's in order to facilitate safe carrying out of roadworks, for example. There was a change to the regulations made as a result of the pandemic, where essentially projects relating to COVID, so measures relating to COVID and providing social distancing became a justifiable reason to make a traffic regulation order. So in other words, if the one way on Well Street had been retained, but which had been made by temporary order, but the narrowing and the widening the pavement had been removed and effectively invalidated the reason for making the temporary one-way and therefore invalidated the temporary one-way as part of that. So that's essentially the reason for it. And you know, and from my recollection of the just long, lengthy discussions we had in the MAG meetings, it was decided then that the whole of the project would be removed on that basis.
Yeah, I appreciate your explanation, Mike, but I would hope that the officers, the county, will be discussing with the Welsh Government, who after all funded this project, as they funded all the projects throughout Denbighshire and throughout Wales. That's when the discussions have taken with the Welsh Government, that they will be pointing out to the fact that the regulations as they stood did not work for us in Ruthin, for example, for that street. And consequently, we were to lose the whole system, where we could have had an active travel scheme going up and down Market Street effectively until now, and because by now I believe most of these schemes across the country have been removed, or parts may have been retained. Diolch yn fawr. So I think we're back on track now with the other hands up. Diolch yn fawr. Cynghorydd Rhys Thomas, yr awd i fyny gyntaf.
Diolch yn fawr, Cadeirydd. Dwi'n meddwl bod gennai gwestiwn. I don't think it's a question. I just wanted to say that when this scheme was first proposed, Denbigh Town Council voted for it. All the MAG members were for it. And I think what happened then was unfortunate, but my thoughts are with the officers who had to do something that was pretty impossible. So I'm not going to be talking about curbs and bollards, simply that this was an emergency scheme, and inherent in that word emergency is that you do something quickly. And some counties went ahead and drew up plans very, very quickly. There was no public consultation, and some of those schemes didn't work very well. Some worked better than others, and there was a lot of criticism for them. The other way of doing this was to draw up a well thought out scheme, and I think Denbighshire went down that route as best as they could, no pun intended. So they did that, and they decided that it was only right to consult. And what happened was that that initial emergency period went by, and the first lockdown is difficult to remember back. I think by August we were into eat out to help out time, and some of these schemes were still being discussed and came in for a lot of criticism. So whether you took the first path and did something quickly without consultation, there was criticism. And if you took a long time and did it properly, there was criticism. So it was basically a no-win situation for officers. And I feel that they put a lot of work in, which I personally supported, and we are where we are. So it's not a question, it's simply the fact that I would be very much in favour of reducing traffic into town centres, reducing pollution, increasing fitness and all the rest of it. But we are where we are, and we took one path. We came in for a lot of criticism, and if we had done the other way, we would also have come in for a lot of criticism. So thank you, Chair. That's all I want to say on the matter. And it's closed as far as I'm concerned, and I'm sure that we've all learnt a great deal from it. Diolch yn fawr, Mr. Cadeirydd.
Diolch yn fawr, Rhys. Officers want to respond to the statement rather than the question?
Yes, Mr. Cadeirydd, Emlyn here. I don't know whether Mike will want to add, but I appreciate the comments. Actually, I think it was a difficult situation. I think we made a decision to consult because that was what we thought was the best thing to do. So, but yes, I appreciate the comments. I don't know whether Mike has anything to add there.
Yeah, just to add, sorry if I can, yeah, again, like Emlyn, I appreciate those comments. I think in terms of those sort of two paths that could be taken, and as Councillor Thomas referred to, there were some authorities went through the sort of emergency implementation, and the criticism of those schemes was, one, they hadn't engaged or asked anyone their opinion, and two, that the works often resembled roadworks because they'd used temporary roadwork, red and white barriers, and businesses were complaining that the town centres looked like they were closed as a building, because they were a building site. So it was difficult. I think it was the right path to choose, albeit it was against the background of a very, tight timescale and a lot of work to fit in while still trying to do some kind of engagement, albeit limited. And the other point I think I would make is that going back to the period when the grant was first made available in sort of May of last year, it was a very different time, of course, because we were still in the initial lockdown. People's views and understandable concern about the virus and how contagious it was probably quite different at the time. As probably time has progressed, we've probably got a different perspective, even before the vaccine program started being rolled out. So there were quite different times as well, but we've certainly learned a lot from it. And like all of these kind of projects, it's, it does present a learning opportunity as well.
Diolch yn fawr iawn. Melvin.
Thank you, Chair. I'll turn my camera off just in case things go ting-tong. I mean, we're here today scrutinizing decisions taken over 12 to 18 months ago. I mean, at that time, we were in the grip of a pandemic. And to be fair, we all thought that we were doomed. I mean, it was doom and gloom. The advice was to socially distance, and in those days, we really did. I'm no, I don't have a great deal of knowledge on Rhyl, Denbigh or Ruthin. What I do know is that Llangollen is an amazingly busy town if it doesn't even rain. It hasn't got to be sunny for us to have an influx of visitors here. And in those times, we didn't want to see them here. We were scared. We were scared of this pandemic. Visitors meant that our payments were jammed and that our town was full. I mean, to me, this COVID scheme came as a blessing. Because of those objections from sort of Denbigh and the resulting consultations for the other three towns, we didn't have the measures in place until November. And of course, we weren't quite so busy then. However, they showed their true worth during the following spring and summer when restrictions were being lifted and the crowds came hurtling back. Using the scheme, we were able to widen our payments to allow for visitors, but to do so, we had to lose parking from the main thoroughfare, Castle Street. It's about 14 spaces. It was a trade-off, safety versus parking. Some people were for, some were against. Graham and I went with the science, and we stuck with it. The scheme started in November 20 with bollards, fine in most other places except in Llangollen, where sadly people tripped over them, some with some really bad injuries, which of course is to be regretted. However, the officers reacted and we had planters installed instead. There were claims that they were ugly and not fit for purpose, but independent safety audits were done and they disagreed with them. They were fit for purpose. By the way, when the flowers in the planters were established, they were the best lane dividers that I've ever seen during lockdown. They were fabulous. They were beautiful, thanks mostly to some of the traders and to the dedicated watering of Councillor John Palmer from Llangollen Town Council. As I said, some people were unhappy about the scheme, but can you imagine the outcry? If we hadn't done anything, we'd have certainly been taken to task on that. Later, Councillor Stewart Davis from Llangollen is speaking. But in March 2020, just before the lockdown, an article was published in the Wrexham Leader in which Councillor Davis complained about the amount of visitors coming to the town and the surrounding beauty spots. In the article, it said that the number of visitors made him feel unsafe, especially with his medical history. He feared for his life. When the Llangollen COVID scheme was put in place in response to the concerns of people like Stewart Davis. It allowed them to have some extra space and to feel safer whilst in the town. Alongside the COVID scheme, the active travel initiative allowed the traffic flow of Church Street to be reversed. Well, this reversal now enables school children from the town to walk to and from Dinas Bran and the two primary schools without encountering rat-run traffic. What a result. Fantastic. Active travel in action. Forgive me, Chair, for prattling on, but there's just a list of thank yous from me to be handed, out here. Mike Jones and his team, especially Ben Wilcox-Jones, they monitored and reacted to an ever-changing situation. Lead member Brian Jones, no relation, I understand, for his strong and supportive interest throughout this scheme, and for his multiple visits to Llangollen in response to various concerns. Also to Llangollen Town Council for their unwavering support throughout, and again to Councillor John Palmer for his watering dedication. Thank you very much, Chair. Sorry about my telephone.
Okay, diolch yn fawr. So, does ddim cwestiynau, then you will, naturiol, I think we're all going to be drawing on our experiences on this one, and questions have already been asked back in December, but I'm sure there could be extra questions coming after the implementation and the removal process as well. Joan, your hand is up next.
Thank you, Chair. Well, I agree with Melvin. I'm not going to start criticising. The programme of work was put in place because there was an emergency situation, and Denbighshire acted accordingly. But unfortunately, in Frill, because of the pandemic, as we all know, and the lockdown in town, the towns were empty, and the furniture that was put in place wasn't really needed. And it wasn't working as we imagined it would. But that is an unknown situation happened, and everyone, as someone else has said, we were all quite frightened about the situation from the pandemic. But in Frill, I have to say that the programme wasn't helped by the Queen's building on the promenade. The building was in the early stages of demolition, and some of these structures that were put in place outside the buildings on the prom, the businesses on the promenade were particularly unhappy, and officers worked with the businesses and with the officers, and I have to say with the lead member as well, who acted and had everything removed. And it did seem a sadness, really, that we'd spent so much time and effort putting all these measures in place, and they had to be removed. But I think that the businesses felt disadvantaged when bollards started going outside their businesses, and that played a large contribution to the problems that we had. But it is now. It's happened, it's historical now, and I know that we will have learned from our mistakes, and I'm certainly looking forward to have the new town plan in place, where we might be well using some of the furniture and stuff that was bought to plan this active travel and safe passage within our town. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Rachel, your hand was up, but it's gone down. I'm assuming that you possibly had a response to what you were intending to ask. Brian is waiting on the sidelines to come in. So unless I hear otherwise, Rachel, I'm going to move on to Brian now. Okay?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to come in on off the back of Councillor Melvin Miles, his comment there. I do want to thank him. We went through some very difficult times going back to June, July last year. Phone calls at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night that I remember that I was receiving, but we stuck to the process because that was the right thing to do. I appreciated other people's viewpoints, but in the case of Llangollen, we stuck to the process, and Melvin's already said it, and I thank him for his kind words towards me, and I would like to reciprocate some kind words back to him. He was doing it with the best intentions, his support. He truly believed in it, and he does deserve credit for that. And I was glad I was able to deal with someone like Melvin Miles using the process. Thank you, Chair.
Diolch yn fawr, Brian. Oes yna ragor o aelodau'r Pwyllgor eisiau gofyn cwestiwn neu wneud sylw? Any members of the committee wish to ask a question or make a comment? Na, I'm going to... Dwi'n dosod felly at Meirig fel aelod o'r cyngor, a wedyn ar ôl, os na fydd yna ragor o ddwylo fyny, fyddai'n gwahodd Stewart Davies i ddod i siarad. Diolch yn fawr. Meirig?
Diolch yn fawr, Mr Cadeirydd. Yn gyntaf gaina ddiolch am yr adroddiad a gwaith y swyddogion a y cynghorydd Brian Jones i gydymffurfio a cais Llywodraeth Cymru. Os neu adroddiad wan yn mynd yn ôl i'r Llywodraeth canolog i ddangos y problemau godwyd, wrach fi misio eto, ond wrach fi angen gwneud y math yma beth yn y dyfodol eto. Mwyn i ni ddysgu o be ddigwyddodd. Hefyd, o'n i wedi gofyn cwestiwn o dan adran 5, o'ch chi'n deud mae yn y pwyllgor yma ddylwn i godi o. Felly, y cwestiwn oedd, oedd neu golled i'r siopau oherwydd hwn, neu oedd o'n fantais i'r siopau? Oedd yna fwy o bobl yn siopa, neu lai, oherwydd bod rhaid i'r trefniant yma gael ei roi mewn lle? Diolch yn fawr.
Diolch yn fawr iawn. Pwy sy'n gymryd? Emlyn?
Mi gychwynna i, a wedyn dwi'n siŵr dweud Mike dod i fewn efo fwy o nylion. Yn sicr, da ni wedi bod yn gweithio reit agos efo Llywodraeth Cymru a efo swyddogion Llywodraeth Cymru. Felly dwi'n sicr bod ni wedi bod yn rhoi adborth i'r swyddogion hynny i ddeud sut o pethau mynd, a dwi'n siŵr bod cynghorau eraill oedd efo schemes tebyg yn gwneud yr un peth. Felly gobeithio fydd Mike adio at hynny, ond dwi'n gwybod bod ni wedi bod yn trafod efo'r Llywodraeth drwy'r broses gwir i roed yn profiadau ni drosodd, achos mae hynna yn bwysig i rannu'r profiadau yna, dydy, ac i'r Llywodraeth allu gwybod beth sy'n gweithio oddi fewn i'r siroedd. Felly dwi'n siŵr wneud Mike bigo hynny fyny. Ac hefyd, oedden ni efo proses reit gynhwysfawr i gwir o ofyn am adborth gyn busnesau, aelodau'r cyhoedd, cyngor tref ac ati drwy'r broses, ac oedden ni'n adolygu y cynlluniau yma yn reolaidd i gael yr adborth yna fewn. Felly gobeithio fydd Mike neu Ben roed ychydig bach o'r adborth yna ymlaen i chi wan. So, os ga i ofyn i Mike ddod i fewn jyst i adio at hynny, please. Diolch.
Mike?
Yeah, will do. Thanks, Emlyn. I think firstly, yeah, I mean, just to echo that, we do have that ongoing dialogue with Welsh Government officials in terms of, the implementation of the scheme and so on. So that, and Ben in particular, as part of the team is in regular contact. So we certainly have fed back some of the issues and, different hurdles that we've come across. In terms of the question about footfall, which comes back from Councillor Mary Lloyd Davis's question from the previous item, we're awaiting the data for the period sort of from July to September inclusive. If we just do it scheme by scheme first, in terms of Rhythin, that scheme was removed within the lockdown, so we didn't do any footfall counting at that point because clearly it wouldn't have told as much as it was in a lockdown anyway. And similar with Realm really, because by the time the decision had been taken to remove the Realm features, we were just coming out of the lockdown, which we started to come out of March this year, you'll recall. In terms of Llan and the figures that I've seen figures for period April to June inclusive. As I say, we've not had the July to September yet. But for April to June, the figure is around a 20% reduction in footfall. However, when you look at other towns, so for example, looked at Prestatyn, which is also a resort town, of course, it was almost identical. So in that sense, it doesn't appear it's only a small sample size relatively, obviously, but doesn't appear to be any, significant difference. And, and as we also heard in the previous item, there are undoubtedly some long-standing impacts that the pandemic has had in terms of people, changing habits and people returning to town centres. But I suppose the flip side of that is, and again, we go back to the planning of the COVID schemes, there was really those two reasons. There was the social distancing we're talking about, and allied to that really was about confidence, about would people feel safe to return to town centres for the very purposes of visiting shops and businesses. So of course, the work we're seeing important in that sense. And the other side of it, of course, is active travel, because it's very topical to mention climate change at the moment, obviously, but there is obviously a long-standing commitment to reduce carbon as a council was signed up. Obviously, if we declared a climate change and ecological change emergency. And as part of that, we're trying to encourage people to walk and cycle more. I mean, something like 60% of journeys are less than 5 miles, so, and a lot of them are obviously undertaken by car. So, we can't lose sight of that either. And what had essentially happened, the Welsh Government had looked at some of the early findings from the likes of China, who were obviously earlier than us in the pandemic. And what they've been finding is that as things restrictions started to be lifted in China, what was happening is people weren't returning to using public transport. They were using their car more, so car usage was increasing. Now, as that clearly goes against the sort of the long-term transport policy aims, there was obviously that view that an intervention was needed. So that, of course, was another reason that the grant was put in place. So sort of got a long, elaborate answer there, but I think it's just important to get those points across. Thank you.
Diolch yn fawr, Mike. Yes, you mentioned the carbon active travel the element, and also the discussion that's ongoing, that's currently taking place in COP26 with the carbon reduction. I hope that we will have learned our lessons from what's happened across the county with the schemes put in, but that will not actually diminish any effort that we are making to increase the opportunities for people to pursue activities which are healthy for everybody in the long run, reduce the use of the vehicles within the towns, and increase the use of our bikes and our own walking to backwards and forwards to town. Can I just mention possibly the Welsh Government seems to be at the moment looking more at connecting within towns and cities. I really think we should be pushing the agenda for connecting communities as well. I could really elaborate that in another meeting maybe in the future. Rachel, your hand is up.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. My question really was about the funding side of things. A lot of these schemes that come through with active travel seem to have very short windows of opportunity with regards to when the time frame of when the money has to be spent. And I know during the lockdown, that was one of the problems we faced in Prestatyn, was where we had this short window of opportunity to spend this money. And I feel that sometimes that's when mistakes are made with regards to spending it. Also, how does the council approach it within our budgets about making sure that we have these schemes that we are all, keen to come to fruition with, with regards to the funding. So when it comes through, how ready are Denbighshire as a council to access that money? Making sure it's, it's completely and thoroughly prepared. I would like to see more infrastructure and more storage, cycle storage in the town. I just feel like we're not quite there yet. I think we do a lot of talking as such about these things, but I haven't quite seen anything come to fruition yet in the town with more infrastructure, with cycling and things like that.
Thank you, Rachel. Emlyn?
Yeah, diolch, Mr. Cadeirydd. I'm sure Ben and Mike will have, would like an opportunity to share some of the stuff we are doing at the moment, but I appreciate we can always improve. And I know for a fact the Welsh Government recognise us as an authority that's really progressive on active travel and want to see us implement schemes. I know that active travel is seen as something by Welsh Government that's incorporated into all developments now, isn't it, really? That active travel is part of business as usual, really. So I'm sure Ben and Mike will share their thoughts on that. But certainly from the first point around sharing the frustration and the concern around these, these opportunities of funding with really tight timescales that's putting us all under pressure. I know that obviously, Steve Gadd as head of finance and finance colleagues and ourselves share those frustrations and concerns with Welsh Government to give us a bit more preparation time, a bit more kind of notice really around future funding streams so that we can plan a bit better. But I know that Mike and the team have got schemes that in the pipeline as well. So when funding comes along, we're kind of ready to make the most of it, really. So, but I don't know whether Mike or Ben can share some of that, some of their thoughts with us as well. Diolch.
I think if I can just add to that, and that will invite Ben as well to add a bit more detail. But I mean, just to pick up on that, I mean, essentially, the COVID active travel funding was clearly an emergency situation, funding made available at short notice, and and obviously nobody could have been prepared for that, given obviously the speed at which the pandemic took hold. There's obviously a wider point there about how schemes are developed, sort of finance and grant timescales and so on. And, it's not a new issue. I mean, it's something that has been raised for a number of years, or about sort of 1 year life cycles for projects. And it's not something that's unique to Denbighshire either. Obviously, I speak to colleagues across Wales and beyond, obviously, through different forums and so on. It's a common issue, but in fairness to Welsh Government, something they have done, and particularly I think active travel is a good example. You've got the active travel mapping, which we're another exercise process at the moment in terms of updating that mapping. And they've also made available a grant called Active Travel Core Funding, which is funding set aside for the development of schemes, because that had been the problem in the past, really, that there wasn't really enough funding for the development of the schemes. And often they're not always quick schemes to develop, because you might require land. Acquiring land can be quite a lengthy process and so on. So that is improving, but I think it's still a work in progress, but it's certainly something we're really very cognizant of and working toward. But Ben, I don't know if you want to add any more to that.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I was just going to add that the process now for active travel schemes, so it's typically that if you want to build a new cycle path, something which doesn't exist from scratch, that's developed over a period of 3 years with Welsh Government. So you're given development funding over 2 years, and then you get the capital funding to build it in the 3rd year. Maintenance schemes, like the one that Councillor Flynn's sort of referring to in Prestatyn, where we wanted to upgrade an existing active travel route, funding's available within a 12-month window for that. So that's probably a reflection on Councillor Flynn's experience and that sort of negative experience we had on that scheme in her ward. So yeah, that's just an outline, really. Maintenance schemes, you get the funding within 12 months, you use it within 12 months. New active travel routes are developed over a 3-year period, so there's more time to get the process and to do the engagement and to get the design right and that kind of thing. Thanks.
Yeah, diolch yn fawr, Ben. Thank you, Mike, as well, for your responses there.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, it was just the last bit about the storage, having more infrastructure. Is that something that will be developed as part of this 3-year, Ben, if you could answer that?
Yeah, no, fair point. Sorry, Rachel. So with our core active travel fund, which is grant funding that we're given every year for maintenance schemes and that kind of stuff, we can use that for cycle storage. We have an allocation this year for cycle storage. There's not a defined location that we have to spend that in. We're open to suggestions. Other areas of Denbighshire are being considered, so I can catch up with you potentially away from this meeting to find out what ideas you've got, or anyone else for that matter in any of your other constituencies.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Now, Rachel, diolch yn fawr. Right, are there any more members who wish to speak, or officers? No? So I can now welcome Stuart Davis to address the committee. I think we are more or less all here. Yes, we are, from what I can see from my screen here. Stuart.
Diolch yn fawr, Cadeirydd. A long time since I've said that. The report as it relates to Llangollen is incomplete and does not accurately reflect the sequence of events on the swinging public opinion over the course of the scheme. While it recognises the very short timelines that prevailed, it was agreed in principle without any prior consultation with Llangollen Town Council or the public. The report fails to mention a petition that gathered more than 600 verified signatures in opposition to the scheme that was presented to DCC officers and councillors. Given the number and severity of incidents and injuries to members of the public, there was a failure by DCC officers and relevant councillors to exercise due diligence by documented risk assessment that took into account risk of injury to the public, despite public concerns being expressed from the outset. The report fails to acknowledge the significant issues that arose in Llangollen related not only to public safety, but also the loss of business. 80% of local business oppose the measures from the outset, but this is not acknowledged. It also fails to acknowledge the public feedback that active travel failed in Llangollen. The July public consultation actually recognised that the majority of respondents said it didn't encourage them to use active travel measures more. Following the spate of public injuries, and despite Llangollen Town Council asking for it from Llangollen's 2 county councillors, a risk assessment for the lane defenders to be used as an extension for pedestrians on a public highway and subsequently planters was never received. It was asked for, we never got it. There was an appalling, and I repeat the word appalling, track record of accidents and injuries to members of the public, with DCC officers failing to risk assess human elements properly and predict and consider worst case scenarios. And I made countless FOIs about that. Initial concerns from the public and myself were ignored until the accidents documented by CCTV footage and photos from personal intervention from me, of which I sent you copies last night, were copied to MPs and the press. Llangollen received some of the worst publicity possible as a result from national press, with reports appearing on the BBC and in the Daily Mail. Even then, the DCC officers sent to assess the scheme continued to say the scheme was fit for purpose, without any documentation, science, or fact-based evidence to support their statements. The attitude which seemed to prevail was one of, I'm a highways engineer, I think it's suitable, therefore it is, when the continued incidents clearly evidenced it was not. That picture that I sent to you, that was a fractured skull and a broken nose caused by this. The scheme in Llangollen eventually underwent continued modifications made at additional cost, whilst resisting significant public calls to remove the scheme. The closure of Short Street, which formed part of the scheme, was based on personal opinions with unspecified safety concerns being quoted. Subsequent FOI requests revealed there had not been any accidents there in the previous 5 years. If there are learnings to be made from this experience in Llangollen, they are not reflected in the report. I call upon this committee to ask why was there a lack of proper documented risk assessments which led to serious injuries to the public. A failure to take a public opinion into account as the scheme progressed. And why did DCC continue trying to fix something that wasn't fit for purpose in the first place? Ruthin removed theirs, why couldn't Llan? Thank you, Chair.
Diolch yn fawr, Stewart Davis. Right. Now then, we are not at liberty to ask questions of Stewart Davis, and we cannot actually invite Stewart to question the officers. But does anybody want to respond very quickly to what they've heard in addition to what's been discussed now? A lot of this information obviously would be internally because Councillor Stewart Davis has already requested freedom of information, etc. from Denbighshire, and will have had possible answers to the questions, whether they were satisfactory is a matter for Mr. Davis and the officers concerned. Does anybody here want to have a look at the recommendation? Are you comfortable with the recommendation as it stands? Does anybody want to add anything following Mr. Davis's presentation now? If so, could you mention it now and we can discuss that? The silence suggests to me that we are content.
Mr. Chairman, sorry, just quickly. So would it be fair to say that it was felt that the process needed addressing of the concerns of the public? So there was a lack of the concerns being addressed formally. So is that something that you think we should be looking at closer, possibly?
I think it's a reasonable request to ask for the process to be looked at, to be considered as well. Yes, we can. If anybody was to second you, Rachel, with that, I'd be happy to take it on board.
I think Joan is.
Yeah, so Joan is seconding that. So we look at the process taken to reach the points we are in terms of installing and also take it away as well. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Members content with that? Are you sure if you are, please? My hand is up. Right, so I can see a lot of cameras off, but I'm looking, yeah. So I think we're okay, yes. So we'll add that we'll ask for the DCC to look at the process involved in installing and removing the schemes as they were presented in Denbighshire.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. You're welcome. Stewart Davis did mention the falls and the evidence there. I think possibly there were trips and everything as well, so they will be documented. So I'm sure this will can be looked at as a result of the additional parts that Rachel's proposed and seconded by Joe now. Okay.
Could I just ask a question then, Chair? That
yeah.
we're asking for this information, but are any of the cases? I was quite shocked with the email that Stu sent yesterday to me and other members. I assume every member did receive it, but I'm a little bit concerned now that it is in Llangollen, the issues in and around some of the areas where the accidents might well have happened. Is it sub judice, and should we be involving ourselves at this stage if indeed it is sub judice?
I think possibly there are people listening in who are watching who may be able to correct me, but because we are looking at asking to look at the process taken, the due process taken with implementing the schemes and removing, that is the addition part we've got there. There is no mention to the details of what's happened, but I know Gary Williams's hand is up there now, so maybe Gary can enlighten us here.
Just to say, Chair, there's nothing, I don't know whether there are any items of litigation arising out of any of this or whether there will be in the future. But I don't think that would preclude us from conducting the sort of review that's being spoken about. Clearly, it would be improper for the committee to consider in public or to make any comment about any individual case. Every individual case must be dealt with in on its own particular set of facts and circumstances, and it would not be appropriate for those to be considered in public. But clearly, if there's a general desire to see a review of the overall process, then I don't think there's anything that would prevent the committee from doing that.
I think that's pretty clear for us. Are you comfortable with that then, John?
Yes, yes, thank you, Chair. Yes, I am.
Thank you. So thank you, stewards, for your presentation. Thank you all for your attendance. Oh, sorry, we're not quite finished. We've got another item, sorry. But thank you all for your contribution to that item on the agenda. Diolch yn fawr iawn. So, Stewart, you're welcome to stay and watch the rest of the meeting. But if not, I shall wish you well and have a good rest of the day as well. Diolch yn fawr.
Cadeirydd.
Croeso. Reit. Ymlaen fan yn ôl i'r agenda, a dyn ni yn mynd yn ôl at eitem 7 rwan. Dwi'n meddwl mae'r rhaglen waith y dyfodol, ie?
Ie, diolch yn fawr, Mr Cadeirydd. Dyma adroddiad rhaglen waith arferol chi. Mae'r rhaglen waith ei hun yn atodiad 1 sydd ar dudalen 49. Mae cyfarfod nesaf chi ar yr 15 o fis Rhagfyr, fel da ni wedi sôn o'r blaen. Ac fel sonio sy'n gynharach, mae'r eitem ar yr Bwrdd Uchelgais Economaidd Gogledd Cymru. Fydd honno'n cael ei chyflwyno chi yn yr cyfarfod nesaf. Ac mae adroddiad chwarter 2 ydy hwn, arweinydd y cyngor sydd yn eistedd ar y bwrdd ei hun a swyddog o'r cyngor fydd yn cyflwyno hon. Dydy'r staff swyddog portffolio'r bwrdd ddim ond yn dod i adroddiad chwarter 4 ar adroddiad blynyddol. Ond mi geithoch chi wythnos dwytha neu'r wythnos gynt gopio adroddiad chwarter 1 fydd yn helpu chi yn barod at adroddiad chwarter 2 tro nesaf. Hefyd, mi o'n adroddiad ar ddigartrefedd ar gwasanaethau cefnogi cymorth tai i fod ar agenda heddiw. Mae honno hefyd wedi gohirio tan mis nesaf, mi ddaru'r cadeirydd gytuno i hyn. A'r rheswm am hyn oedd mwyn cyd-fynd ag adroddiad ar weithrediad argymhellion yn dilyn yr archwiliad mewnol o'r gwasanaeth, fel bod chi'n cael y wybodaeth gyflawn efo'i gilydd. Dyna pan mae honno wedi cael ei gadael tan mis nesaf. So felly mae gennych chi 2 eitem reit sylweddol tro nesaf hefyd, achos mae gennych chi adroddiad blynyddol Bwrdd Partneriaethau Rhanbarthol Gogledd Cymru hefyd. Felly mae gennych chi agenda reit sylweddol. Ydych chi eisiau cynnal y cyfarfod fel gython ni ddoi baratoi cyn y cyfarfod eto? Mae fyny chi fel Pwyllgor os ydych chi'n meddwl bod hynny'n fuddiol a'i peidio.
Sut mae aelodau'n teimlo am y cyfarfod? Y briffio o flaen llaw. Melvin?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Yep. Okay.
I'm happy.
Yes, so likewise here. Ia, o'n i gael ymlaen, o'n i gyfarfod eto.
Nefo, o'n i siŵr braidd i drefnu fo'r diwrnod cynt, debyg i ddoi.
It's worth having the day before, didn't it?
Dwi'n bod yn haws na'i wneud ar y bore.
Diolch yn fawr.
Hefyd ar y rhaglen waith, mi newch chi sylweddoli bod yna'r eitem yn dal yna ynglyn â cynlluniau'r bwrdd iechyd ar gyfer Sir Ddinbych. Da ni wedi bod mewn cysylltiad â'r bwrdd a wedi cael ateb ynglyn â hyn rwan. Y rheswm nad ydyn nhw dal heb roi dyddiad i ni ar pryd fedryn nhw ddod ar cynlluniau yma ato ni ydy bod nhw'n dal mewn dialog hefo Llywodraeth Cymru. Maen nhw'n gobeithio na fydd hyn ddim yn rhy hir eto, achos maen nhw'n cael cwestiynau wedi gofyn gan Gaerdydd iddyn nhw. Felly maen nhw'n eitha ffyddiog y byddan nhw yn gallu dod ar rhain ni yn eitha buan.
Reit. Diolch yn fawr.
Yn atodiad 2, mae'r ffurflen gais ar gyfer y grŵp cadeiryddion a gis cadeiryddion. So os gynnwch chi eitem, da chi'n meddwl y dylai ddod i Bwyllgor Craffu, so chi'n llenwi hwnna i fewn, neu hanfon i atai. Mae cyfarfod nesaf grŵp 2 wythnos i heddiw ar y 5 ar 20 o Dachwedd. Felly, os fyswn ni'n gallu cael unrhyw ffurflen cyn hynny, fydde i ofyn i'r grŵp roed ystyriaeth iddi. A wedyn fel arfer, mae rhaglen waith y cabinet yn atodiad 3 er gwybodaeth i chi, ac yn atodiad 4 mae'r diwedd araf ar argymhellion o'r cyfarfod dwytha. A wedyn nes i anfon y diweddariad gwybodaeth i chi dydd Llun, efo'r wybodaeth ychwanegol na oedd yno a hefyd adroddiad chwarterol ar fonitro ansawdd gofal sy'n cael ei ddarparu gan ddarparwyr allanol.
Iawn, diolch yn fawr. Pawb yn hapus efo y rhaglen waith y dyfodol? Diolch yn fawr. A dwi'n meddwl bod hwnna'n dirwyn y cyfarfod i ben rwan. Ga i ddiolch i chi am fod modd amyneddgar. Dwi'n siŵr sut ydyn ni'n neud ar hanner amser. Faint o gloch yn ei fod i orffen? Hanner awd i hanner neu 1 o gloch? Mae'n ddrwg iawn gen i. Dydy'r agenda mi weld, dwi wedi mynd I wylod y tudalen 66 allan o 66 yma. Reit, adrodd yn ôl gan gynrychiolwyr. Oes gan rywun adroddiad yn ôl i'w gyflwyno? Fi'n gweld os oes rhywle I fyny, mi awn ni atych chi'n syth. Fi'n gweld enwau pennau'n cael eu hysgwyd. Na. Dwi'n meddwl bod na adroddiadau dod yn ôl. Gore? Felly, tan y cyfarfod nesaf, mis Rhagfyr, pawb I ddod efins pei I hun fydd I, dwi'n meddwl, ynddo? Ie. Neis gweld pawb eto, ac o siambr oer gael ddymuno y gorau I chi rwan. Gael fynd I gynesu nôl adre yma munud. Diolch yn fawr.
Diolch yn fawr.